Now, you might find it ironic that I pair Crazy Rich Asians, a movie sparing no expense in showing us the lavish luxury these characters live in, with simplicity. A word that, if you heard it and your mind went completely grey, I wouldn't blame you. After all, simplicity embodies the plain and minimalistic. However, the film directed by John Chu, based on the novel by Kevin Kwan, flips the romantic comedy genre on its head, giving us a bright and beautiful take on meeting the family. Hi, I'm Danielle, and this is Crazy Rich Asians, Joy in Simplicity. Of course, Rachel's normal long-term boyfriend turns out to be the heir to a century-old dynasty in Singapore that basically owns half of Asia. Poor girl, rich guy, we've practically seen it all before. However, Crazy Rich Asians has given us something we rarely see. Culture. Although stories are relatable and are meant to represent people and the human experience in different ways, people should not have to wait for their parasite to get a quality film telling an enjoyable story. And that is why I absolutely love this film. It's a basic Cinderella story with a deep history feeding the characters' motivations. Although I, in fact, cannot relate to my boyfriend being a secret millionaire, to my knowledge, the characters are written in a way that allows me to root for them while criticizing them for being completely daft and avoiding confrontation when it was so obviously needed. For instance, Rachel, the main character, is insufferably boring. She's literally an economics professor, which when I look at it now, it's pretty interesting since she's left to discern the power dynamics within the family, but that's not the point. She's inherently boring and I don't care for her. While Mr. Prince Charming, Nick, is completely oblivious and treats his mother's micromanaging like a pet peeve rather than an entire threat to his relationship. His best friend literally had to sit him through how much Rachel would be bullied by his mom, and if he was sure he wanted to put her through that. Like what? This girl literally tells him she found a dead fish in her room, and this man says, "Is that all that happened?" Like if you don't get her a lawyer and sue for emotional distress right now. Anyway, the queen bee, Mama Dearest, Eleanor Young, is top tier. No competition. Eleanor heard us say money can't buy happiness and said, watch this. She's not seeing her husband, but firing and ruining racist lives while crying in the hotel she just bought is a level of iconic Rachel wishes her economics degree could take her to. This woman has sacrificed her life and happiness for her son. She made sure her son was the favorite and least problematic, letting his grandma raise him, and yet he still married a commoner. So who's really to blame here? The sheer blandness of the two main characters and their love story allows the supporting characters and the interesting dynamic within the family to shine through. Everyone else being entitled spoiled brats, except Princess Astrid, of course, tells us that although they may be of a different economic standing than the average person, this is their norm. Annoying cousins, overbearing aunts, and disconnected in-laws are the icing on the cake of the portrayal of this real family. The film not only uses the supporting characters to add vibrancy to the story, but the literal use of color is used to show the playfulness of the world around them, showing Americans that every country is not in fact colored in sepia or gray. Also, the inclusion of Rachel's mother advising her on wearing a red dress to meet his family acknowledges Chinese beliefs and traditions, which are quickly debunked when she actually makes it to Singapore. The family may come from old money and they may still hold on to some old traditions, but some have obviously been lost along the change in tax bracket. The filmmaker, of course, had to make sure the settings and events these characters were seen in hold the viewer's attention. The fast-paced street food, Pick Lynn's home, the young family home, along with the bachelor and bachelorette parties, all fed us the realism of the world, while leading up to the most iconic scene in the entire film. I've probably seen 100 movies with a bride walking down the aisle. How John Chu is able to make me cry every time with this one is a feat that honestly deserves its own video. We are fed this world beautifully. The story, thankfully, giving us more experiences with the supporting characters rather than fleshing out a relationship we've seen a million times on screen. The main climax literally comes and goes in the last 30 minutes of the film, and I cared more about Astrid's redemption more than those two anyway. However, No matter how much I criticize Rachel, her arc was done cleverly, literally defined by her using the lesson that we saw her teach on game theory in our introduction to her at the start of the film. Following her brain, not her heart, playing to win, not to not lose. Leading to Nick finally showing some sort of effort, taking control of his own life despite his mother's wishes. In the end, Crazy Rich Asians is a film made to be enjoyed. It isn't trying to be a think piece on Asian American relationships or a masterful showcase of filmmaking technique. It's a fun, lovable story with an equally lovable cast. A film really doesn't need to subvert expectations and take us on an emotional roller coaster to be good. There is safety in predictability, and it's okay to tell a safe story as long as you do it well. Stories were meant to be told, and the reality is not everyone will face a life or death chase or have a man hidden in their basement. Movies are, after all, allowed to be an escape into a happier, more colorful world away from all the complexities and intricacies of life itself.